Hi everybody, this is Diane. I'm still working on the sewing theme journals, and this is another episode of What Can We Do with Sewing Patterns. This will be the final episode, but you will still see more that I do with sewing patterns as I decorate the pages. So let me just show you a little bit of what I did after the camera shut off the last time. I do not remember how much of each of these covers was completed. I think this one was done, maybe, except, well, I don't know. I think I added stuff to it after the last time you saw it. So it's got the little baby buttons on there. I love that. And some lace and rickrack and an applique. I reinforced the spine with the piece of fabric. And this pattern didn't quite go all the way down to the bottom, the pattern piece, so I took this black and white scrapbook paper and border punched it and glued it on there. On the inside I added the same fabric that I put on the spine on the outside, and it got a little pucker here when I sewed this fabric on, so I just covered it up with that little piece of lace. And then I have these really lovely Simplicity fabrics from Joann's that Janet sent to me. So 4 of those ladies made an excellent size for a pocket on this journal. Then I did this one, and I know I didn't have any of this stuff done on it when you saw it last. I added just a bunch of laces. This is all vintage stuff here on the spine. And then I added this little rosette. Kept it all neutral colors. And on the inside, this is a piece of decorator fabric, and I believe I got that in Happy Mail. It came with a whole collection of fabrics in this color scheme. And I chose this one to go on here. And then this is, I found a bunch of fabric ribbons from Ooh La La Crafts on Etsy. Kristen, is that her name? Christy. I had ordered some things from her, and she sent me additional things, and I showed them on my channel back when she sent them to me, and I put them away with my sewing things, and then I haven't gotten them out to use them. So this was perfect. It was one strip, and I just cut it, and it was perfect for this. So those are the pockets on that one, and I've got other pieces of the some with color that she sent me, so you'll be seeing some of those. And then the pink one, I think I couldn't find this one yesterday, but I found it finally. It had been put away with some papers that I had gotten out. I put them away and I just got stuck in the middle of them. So anyway, I found it. I Mod Podged the pattern pieces to it, and I believe I did all of that on camera. And I added her, and I put this piece of pink, this is on pink cardstock, so I put this pink fabric here, and a little bit of lace and a zipper. I had to use my wire cutters to cut that off because it's a metal zipper, it's that old. Pink rickrack and this little applique. And some pretty pink fabric on the inside. These were given to me also by Christy. These little panels, so I cut them to size to fit as a pocket and added a little lace to the top. So those are the covers. You saw, I don't see it here now, but you saw me make one of these books, and you saw me start this one, and I was going to use these images that I showed you. So I went ahead and sewed all the way around this folded up pattern tissue. There's nothing in it except pattern tissue. And I had folded it so that there were 2 flaps that came in. So I sewed around those and made pockets. This right here was loose. There was some loose paper there that you could have stuck something in. So I just sewed that closed. Wouldn't want anything to get caught in there. You put it in the pocket and then it slides into there and gets lost. So I sewed that closed, and then I added these pieces are from the strips of fabric that Christy sent me. There's a strip that has colorful spools and thimbles. Those are 2 different strips. And then these are some printables that I had left over from a previous project, and they are from Antique Papery. And I put on some vintage lace. So you can put little things in there to journal on. And then here is another one I made. This one's a little smaller. And this is another piece of fabric from Janet. Again, I sewed all the way around. And there's another strip of the fabric with some colorful sewing machines. So I just made a little pocket out of that. And I'm not sure if I'm going to sew a booklet in here, some pages, and then that will sew this down. And if I decide not to add pages, I'll just sew through that to hold this part of the strip down. So there's some lace and a button, and then the image from the fabric, and I have some other pieces of that fabric already cut into sections, torn into sections, and prepared to use in other projects for this journal or future journals. So today we're going to work on another What Can We Do pattern episode. So what I have is a piece of 8.5 by 11 cream colored cardstock. You could just use any kind of paper or color cardstock you want. But I wanted to use the cream, and that way I'm going to do some collaging on the front of it, and then I'll have the back for journaling. Oh, I wanted to show you this too. This was left over from the previous domestic arts journals that I made with the long Reader's Digest, the wide ones, Reader's Digest books. And I just cut around the front of an old pattern and zigzag stitched it on. This is just a decoration. But on other pages, I reinforced this with another piece of paper so the paper wasn't so fragile. And I left one side of it open, like here or here, and put a large tag inside. So that's another thing you can do with sewing patterns. So this is waiting its turn to go in a book. It won't go in these journals because I want it to go in a bigger one. So what we're going to do here is collage parts of our patterns down. So I'm looking for, okay, here's instruction sheet from a pattern. So I'll just take a little piece of that and glue it down in that corner there. Most of the time I want to save this portion of the pattern instructions that illustrates the different views of the pattern of the outfit you can make, but I don't really like that blue with the drawings on them. They don't show up very well, and this piece is kind of dirty looking. So I'm just going to go ahead and use that side. I really do appreciate all your kind comments for this series. I am glad you are enjoying it. And I hope that you will try making some of these things. A lot of you say that you have patterns that you didn't know what to make with. You didn't know what to do with the patterns, I guess, is a better way to say it. So if you have several patterns, you can use instructions from different ones because it will alter the color. See the difference in those? This one is actually from the 70s. I don't know how old this one is because I think this is one of the doll patterns, but it's newer than this one. But even, you know, close to the same age, they will vary in the color of the paper. So that will add some interest to your collage. just going to glue that down there. But underneath it, I'm going to put some pattern tissue. You can put the pattern tissue on top of the pieces that you glue down because you can see through them, or put them underneath so that it provides a background for whatever you're putting on. So if there are gaps in between your pieces, you'll still have this pattern piece underneath. And we're going to do something with this once we get this whole thing collaged. I have some other pages done that we can work on while this one dries. So I want to use portions of the instruction sheets and the tissue and the pattern envelope all in this one project. So I've got parts of instructions and tissue. Let's look for a pattern envelope. This one is a big one. This isn't very vintage, but it's a reproduction of a 1948 design. The pattern itself is from 2008, so it's 12 years old. So I could use this little piece here. I could use any of this back here. I like that she's in black and white. I could even cut her out and put her on the collage, but I am going to embellish the collages. So I don't want to add anything like that on there yet. I have another instruction sheet out here. So on some of them I use this part, this side where it has the layout pattern or layout diagrams, and then some of them I use this part where it shows the garment being constructed. This one is the construction, so let's use a piece of the layout. There's just so much interest, so many different components of a sewing pattern. That's why this is such a great project. Put that there. And I like this. It has the little numbers of the view in blue. So I'm going to take that piece. I want to look for a smaller pattern piece that will have more, this doesn't have much marking on it. So I want one that has more printing on it. This is from that large reproduction pattern. It was never used. Now this looks interesting, where it has the buttonholes marked. Well, I want some tissue on top of some of these items too. Okay, I'm just going to glue down what I have and then see what I need to fill in. I don't want to take too much time making the collage because we want to work on what we're going to do with the collage once it's done. So it's pretty much a neutral background with different shades of whites and tans, creams. Where do I want this? Don't really want to cover up that arrow. It's like the only interesting thing on that piece. So I'll just come up a little bit. Might end up getting covered anyway. Gotta be careful, everything's sticking and this tissue is so thin. If the tissue gets crumpled, it's okay. It'll just add some more texture and interest. It's kind of crumpled up there, but I don't mind. Okay, what else do I need to add? I have this piece from another pattern, which was a very unusual envelope. It's very shiny and it tore very easily, but I thought it was interesting. It talks about a seam allowance, what seam allowance is allowed on is included in it. I don't want it to be that long, so I'm just gonna cut a little piece, maybe put that there. I want to use one of the pattern names, but I don't really want the purple. How about this one? That one looks good. Oops. using my fabric scissors to cut paper. Big no-no. You could cut little things off of your pattern envelopes, like the little drawing there, the numbers, like the brand name, the flap, anything. You could even cut the brand name off of the tissue. Rather than unfold this whole thing, I'm just going to cut it right there. Now we are going to embellish with some more colorful images and things, so we don't have to have, you know, a point of interest on every bit of it. Everything on here is going to kind of fade into the background of the finished item, but I do like that there. We're almost done. Then we can take one of the dry ones and have fun with it. I believe it's 2 o'clock. I didn't get to do much of anything. I didn't make much progress on these yesterday. I had my grandsons from 8:30 in the morning until about 7 p.m. Did a little. I finished up the covers, but I started working on this project this morning, and I have one little spot right there. I think I'll use a piece of pattern tissue. These are going to be cut up into smaller portions, and there isn't any tissue except for down here on this in that corner. So let's put a little bit there. Don't need much. Take that little corner piece. Okay, so this collage is done. The base of it is done. Now we get to play. So I got tissue everywhere, all unfolded tissue. So I did 3 more earlier, so these are 2 of them. This one had some pink on the pattern envelope. This was the little ruler that they often put on the back edge of a pattern, in case you need the ruler while you're shopping or whatever. This is that glossy pattern envelope. So I took the first one that I did and already cut it up. So here's how I cut it up, if I can remember. I cut like 3-inch, let me turn this around this way. A 3-inch square, or not square, 3-inch strip, and another one, and another one, and then I had this bit left at the end. But before I cut this strip off, I cut this portion of it so I'd have a good size for a pocket. And then I had 2 little pieces up here. So you could, I think these are 6 inches, no, 5.5. So these are 5.5 inches tall. So you could just cut a 5.5 inch piece, and then you'll have this strip to make 2 bigger pockets. But I have a pocket and 2 little tuck spots. I rounded the corners on one of those already. And I started embellishing a little bit on these. So that's what we're going to work on. So I have 3 more cards to cut up. So obviously I'm going to have a lot more cards and pockets that I'm going to need for these journals, but I'll have them set aside. So what can we embellish them with? Well, I have laces and rickracs. So you can add whatever kind of colors you want with these kind of things. I thought these would be very retro looking and fun. Those little printed flowers. Some just little laces and colorful small rickracs. This pretty trim I thought would be fun. And this, something like that if you're doing a 70s kind of a vibe. You can use those kinds of things. I have a variety of gift wrap that I got from Joann's when they had these kinds of, you know, the Simplicity gift wrap. So this is the fabric that Janet sent me, and I made the pockets in the journal cover with this as a fabric, but I have it in gift wrap too. And these littler ones, you could punch them out with whatever kind of punch you have that might fit there. And it doesn't belong there. I have these, which I also have the fabrics from Janet, right? I think so. So I can cut things out of those to embellish, which I probably will do a lot, and this is one of them. The portions of the envelopes with the big numbers, the word, you know, like the brand, especially that branding. If you have scrapbook paper that has sewing themes, so this button trim right here, I cut a piece of that out for there. This actually is a flashcard from a flashcard digital set from the old design shop, and I had printed it on a colored paper, scrapbook paper, and I just had to trim off part of the card. This is scrapbook paper with sewing machines on it, so you could cut those out. I have scrapbook paper with buttons. This is from the binder book, the sewing binder book. So if you have a sewing themed book, you might have images that have color on them that you can use. And I'm sure there are many, many other things that you can think of that you could use. You could use bits of fabric. These are some more of the strips of fabric that Christy sent me. So I've got some more sewing machines and some buttons here, the ruler. So anything you might have in your stash, just kind of look and see what you have. And it doesn't have to be sewing themed. If you have like an image like this, the other things could be whatever you have to decorate, like borders, die cuts. So let's just get started. So obviously I cut the angles on these tags, and then I punched the holes in them. And I just added these 2 pieces, which I already told you what they are, and her, and added some reinforcements there. Just gotta trim that a little bit off. And I will add something here, some lace or something in there, and that will be a tag ready to be journaled on. Let's do another one. I cut a piece of this out of that scrapbook paper. I was thinking of adding it to this, and I added, well, this Simplicity part was part of the collage that I cut up because it continued there. Let's try some rickrack here. I'm looking for a blue, but I only have really, really skinny blue ones. I know I have a wider one, but oh, here it is. I did bring one over. And I want to use some of the skinny Rick Racks too, but for this one, let's use something a little bolder. Did I say buttons? You could add buttons. You can sew around them to add interest around the edges. Maybe I will have the lace go all the way across and the Rick Rack just go part of the way. I think I like that better. Okay. I will punch the corners on this. I'm going to use this. It's a little thick. Okay. I'm not really happy with that sewing machine piece on there, so I'm not ready to glue that down yet. I might come up with something else to put there. Oh, here it is. I just think it's a little bit small for this. It might work on this little tag. Maybe I'll use one of these. I'm gonna get my paper punches and see what might work. I don't think I bought this roll of paper. I think somebody sent this to me because I think this is about all I have of it. That's about perfect for them. I'm not sure it's going to cut that very cleanly though, so I'm going to put a piece of paper behind it. Pardon me. Beautiful. I like them. I'm not even going to ink them. I'm not inking stuff in these journals because we have vintage looking stuff and we have more white looking stuff and it all blends together. So there's a journaling card. We have one tag and one journaling card. And I don't have a lot of time left. Let's do something with one of these little tuck spots. I wonder if she's too tall. Nope. Like I said, this little picture came out of the sewing binder. It doesn't have to be figures of people. That sewing binder and other sewing books have a lot of great images that you could cut out or punch a shape out of and use. I waited until this morning because I knew Teddy would be in my office doing schoolwork at my table in there yesterday. So this morning I just got out books and papers and all kinds of stuff that I have for making sewing journals and spread it out on that table. There's a lot there. Way more than I'm going to use in these journals. So you can know that I have plenty of stuff to make another journal project, a sewing journal project. I think I'm going to look for a little piece of fabric to put behind her. Just bring my little tiny tub of tidbits and see what I can find. This little patchwork is the right color for her outfit. I've got buttons over here and they're buried with tissue. Oh, that one's tiny. Tiny and adorable. That would make a cute little tuck spot. I might want to put a little rickrack or something there in some color. I don't know what color. Or maybe a piece of lace. It doesn't show up very well. But at any rate, I would put some thread in these buttons before I glue them down. Let's put those in a straight row and see how I like that. That's cute. Yes, I think I like it like that. So I'm going to start gluing, and I'm going to have to shut the camera off pretty soon. Maybe I'll use that other little girl on the other corner tuck spot. I am ready to start cutting pages and get my signatures going. I mean, I don't think I'm ready to do that now, but I am ready to, if you know what I mean. I want to start doing that. But I want to finish these collages first. So before I sew the buttons on, I think this is down lower than it was. I will put some thread in them and then glue them on. And then it will look like that. Okay, so I'm going to stop the camera and I will carry on. And so the next time I do another video, hopefully I'll be actually working on some signatures and you can see what I've done with the rest of the pieces. I'm not going to collage everything that I'm not going to decorate everything that I collaged, rather. I will save some of the pieces for future journals and I will decorate them when it comes time to that. So I guess that's it. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video and have a creative day today. Bye-bye.